Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Dope Show. I'm Kiana Hughes, your host, and DOPE stands for Developing Opportunities for Personal Empowerment. Each week, Mondays at 8 o'clock p.m., we do just that by discussing the cannabis industry, the cannabis plant, and the benefits of cannabis for health and wellness, as well as opportunities within the industry, job opportunities, investment opportunities, everything as it relates to cannabis. So tune in every Monday evening at 8 o'clock p.m. So good to be with you this week. Just a quick announcement, we will not be filming the Dope Show next week on May 15th, this upcoming Monday. So we have to take a quick little break there. I'm going to be in DC taking a cannabis course actually at the Marijuana Business Conference in Washington, D.C. So I won't be here next week. But then the week after that, I'll be back. We'll have plenty of stuff to talk about, great information to give you. This week, I am not going to waste a lot of time. So what's dope this week is my guest, my great friend, Miss Edy Moore.
Hey, Kiana.
Edy has, she has such an amazing story and journey in this industry. And just like looking at it, I was like, man, she's like 3 layers deep. So we're going to break this show up into about 3 segments. And we're going to talk about the 3 layers of Edy as it relates to the cannabis industry. So welcome to the show.
I'm so happy to be here. Congratulations on the show. It's dope.
Thank you.
It definitely is.
Thank you. And you are dope too.
Thank you,
ma'am.
babe.
So if we look at the beginning of your journey, I know, but tell our audience, how did you even start off in cannabis? Can you talk to us a little bit about your role as a caregiver to your mom?
Okay. Yeah. Well, even before that, before my mom got sick, I just heard, was introduced to like a vape pen thing. And I was like, what is this? This is interesting. And then followed that down the rabbit hole and realized that we were about to go legal here in Illinois. And I was like, man, this is happening now. And I need to know more about this. I'm going to open a dispensary. Jumped up and said I was going to do that. And it's so funny because I hear that a lot now. And just found out, read and researched and hooked up with the right people. And then turned out after that, my mom did get ill.
Okay, so I got the order wrong.
A little bit, yeah.
You started with your mom and then, okay.
Yeah, well, just going down this path, yeah. So, she did get ill, and I had touting cannabis for so long, but I didn't have any real personal anecdotal evidence for myself. And so we applied for her to get a card. Her doctor signed off right away.
Now, what was her what was her illness?
She had cancer of the stomach cancer.
Okay.
Yeah. So her doctor signed off right away. And we were talking about it everywhere, every doctor's appointment, everything.
So was she on board, right? Was your mom on board?
She was on board right away. She had not, she hadn't consumed since the 60s or 70s or whatever.
Okay.
But she was on board. She had read some of the same things I was reading too. So, but it really was amazing to me to see it work for real. And she was up cooking. I was like, you made some food? Yeah, I feel better, So that was just amazing to see that it really worked for her.
So you say her doctors signed off right away. And that's really a blessing and a gift because everybody does not have that experience.
I have heard some of the worst things that doctors have said to patients. They've said, oh, we don't believe in that. We're not allowed to do that. I have to be certified before I can certify you.
I haven't taken the class.
It just makes me so angry because my mom's physicians, her oncologists were on board right away. Literally, it was hers was the first application that her doctor had signed.
And where, if you don't mind?
No, it was at the University of Illinois. And I assumed because it was a state hospital that's why they were so open to it, but that's not actually the case.
So you mean UIC or
UIC?
Okay.
What'd I say?
University of Illinois, right? True.
Right.
Okay. So the oncologist there at so maybe because it is a school and because they are a little bit further along.
Yeah,
as far as
research. When she spent a lot of time in the hospital, and I had flyers in her room and, was passing them out. And then when she did come home, I would give the home nurse people, I was like, here, take a flyer. Do you know about cannabis? Let me tell you about cannabis.
And what was on your flyer? I love this. So you were already out here advocating, doing outreach.
Oh, definitely. And so was she. She's like, give me some for my purse so I can take it with me. Yeah, we were doing, so what was on the flyer was, facts. Basically, you don't need to have for the physicians, facts for the physicians, facts for other patients. You know what I did find was that the nurses were all over it. The nurses knew about it. They were much more exuberant. The nurses were down.
Good.
And it seemed like the physicians were a lot slower to come around, and so were the pharmacy students, because it was a teaching hospital, so she had a lot of students there as well.
So where did you get the information? I mean, everybody is not quite as. Did you actually make these flyers yourself and pull the information and put the content together?
So yes, I was doing that for my second business. I don't know, maybe that's the third layer. But for our business, which was IGM at the time, we applied for, so I did wind up going with a dispenser group that was going for licensure.
Okay.
And we won.
Actually, and I put a bookmark right there on the licensure thing, because I want to just real quick circle back around to
I know I'm
to
all
your
over
mom.
the place.
No, that's okay. You're fine. I know how the story kind of intertwines and it goes together, and I'm not mad at that. I just don't want to. I really feel it's important to from that caregiver and patient perspective, especially as it relates to the seniors, the elderly,
yes.
and they're, here you are a daughter who was taking care of your mother, right? And just like, in the past, we've spoken to caregivers who were mothers taking care of their daughters and of their children. And so part of the reason why I had you here today is because it is right before Mother's Day week. And so I know that coming from that perspective, sometimes people they're nervous, they're scared, they may not know how to bring it up to their parents, or they may not know how to bring it up to their doctors. So anything that we can, discuss to help them to understand, why it may or may not be beneficial, but also how do you start having those kinds of conversations, right?
Yeah.
Because it was easier for you.
It was easier for me because the conversation started from the business, and my mom was always, she's a serial entrepreneur. She has always been in business for herself. So when we first started talking about it, it was from the, my daughter's in this business kind of thing. And so then when it turned out that she was in need of it, I said, well, what kind of business I'm in, or what I've been studying, and all this information. And she said, well, no, I don't know. Why don't you tell me a little bit about it? But she trusted that I knew what I was talking about because I was passionate about the business.
Got it. And so tell me, so then first she's taking it because she trusts you, right? So she's open to the information. There's obviously a good relationship there. So she's not thinking that you're trying to kill her,
right.
Kill her off early.
No.
So then she takes it, and what was the reaction, or how did it affect her?
There was a lot of trial and error. And she kind of settled on edibles. She really, really likes chocolates and sweets and things like that.
Okay.
And I was like, you're a diabetic. You can't be eating all that sugar.
She's like, this is to treat the cancer. We're not worried about the diabetes.
She's like, I'm not worried about that right now. And you know what? I really had to come around and say, you know what? Okay, we're not worried about that right now. It's funny because my husband used to give my grandmother candy. She's like, let me have some of that candy. And I said, don't give her that candy. She's like, it's a piece of candy.
Right. If that's gonna make her happy.
Make her
At this
happy,
point,
So
what
at
are we doing?
so at that point, I thought about that when my mom was having brownies and a little bit. I said, "Don't eat that whole thing." I would just be, "Don't eat that whole thing." So
how
that
did
kind
it
of
help
stuff.
her?
Um, I'm not sure what happened to help her, but I know that when she started to feel better, her spirit was lighter.
Okay.
She was able to do a little bit of traveling. We traveled right around Thanksgiving. She and I never really did holidays together because I was one of those split kids. You go with your dad and blah, blah, blah.
Understood.
So,
yes.
Yeah. So that's just how we spent holidays. We would touch base and blah, blah, blah. But when we spent like Thanksgiving together, I was like, man, this is cool. See, you should have come all along. It was really, really great. And we took a road trip. And she had it with her.
Did it help her with pain or with nausea?
It helped her with nausea.
Okay. And she was still doing chemo and that, or no?
She was done with her chemo and done with her radiation, but it was the radiation particularly, I think, was so hard on her stomach and on her GI area that it just, she had diarrhea, she had just all kinds of GI problems.
Sure.
And so that helped her stomach, and she said, yeah, I didn't throw up today, and I think I'm going to eat a little something, that kind of stuff. Yeah, she wasn't eating because she was, sick,
sure,
not feeling well.
That's amazing then, because even that's not a minor thing.
Yeah,
that's a major thing, right? Because that affects your quality of life. You have gastrointestinal issues,
you ain't going nowhere,
right? You need
she didn't want to go
to the bathroom. You're not going out.
She didn't want to go to doctor's appointments. She's like, I'm not going because I'm not going to be out, and so and she was concerned about the edibles too, because not everything was always working. Sometimes an edible would make her feel a little sick or whatever, but for the most part, that was her go-to thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, and her chief complaint was the GI, the upper GI stuff. And then, once we got further along, there were infections and all other kinds of things to treat, which cannabis wasn't really helping with, but, made her a little happy.
Right.
Get a little buzz on.
Well, and I think that's really,
and relaxed.
That is really kind of the the silver lining in it all, right? So, unfortunately, your mom did pass.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks to cannabis, even just hearing you talk about you all being able to spend holidays together, and her being able to go out and to travel and to just to enjoy some of life, even if it is, in your later days.
Right. I agree. We weren't sure what it was going to look like. And it went so fast. It was just so, when I think back on it, it was a lot faster than we thought it was going to be. But yeah, to have that time that wasn't all in the hospital, wasn't all sick, it was a blessing. It was definitely a blessing.
Good. Well, we're going to take a short little break. And when we come back, then we're going to go into the second layer, which actually was the first layer of Miss Licensee and dispensary and cultivation center and all of that. And we're going to talk about some of the nitty gritty as it relates to that in the industry here in Illinois. So we'll be right back with the Dope Show. Tune in again Mondays at 8:00 p.m. on Intellectual Radio and iHeartRadio. We'll be right back. Good evening. We're back with the Dope Show. I'm back with Miss Edy Moore. She's given us some really good insights into her journey, the first part of her journey as a caregiver to her mom. And now we're going to move into the business side of things. So we did the personal. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about the professional side of things. So, and I don't want to say this wrong, but I do want to give you, props to you and your group. Edy is a part of a group who was the only African American.
Yep.
Female.
There's some females on there.
Well, say what you all were.
We were the only African American group to be awarded license in Illinois. And our license was vertically integrated, so we won one for dispensary and one for cultivation as well.
Okay.
So 2 licenses.
And that is awesome. And so one of the other reasons why I wanted to have you on, one of the questions that I hear most often is, are there any dispensaries in Illinois that are owned by people of color?
The answer to that is yes and no.
Okay.
We as people of color applied for and were awarded that license. However, we have since sold or we're not in control of the whole pie as we were anymore.
Okay, well, let's back up just a little bit then from that. So, everybody wants to know, what does it take to open a dispensary? How do you get the license? Like,
I want to own a dispensary like I did. I just jumped up and did it.
Yes, they want to, exactly. Yeah. They want to open a dispensary like you open up a boutique, So let's talk about it.
Okay.
So how did you decide to enter the business? Yeah. And then talk about that whole bidding for the license, that whole process, man.
So that's funny that people say that, because that's exactly what I thought. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be great. I just own a dispensary and I'll leave my job and I'll just, be perfect. I'll be my own boss.
Balling.
Right. So I paid a lot of attention to the timing and kept reading, waiting for the rules to come out. And
when was this?
That was in 2013.
Okay.
So waiting for the rules, and once I got the rules that were like, you can't see me on the radio, but like 2 inches thick, I said, oh, I can't open a dispensary. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to raise millions of dollars. I don't know that. I know what I know, and I know how to, but what I didn't know at the time is that it was going to take a team. It couldn't just be me or one other person.
It takes a village.
It took a village. So you need a lobbyist. You need attorneys. You need security people. You need experts.
Let's back up. Yeah. Attorneys. What kind of attorneys?
Attorneys.
You can't just get a lawyer.
No, you can't get a lawyer.
I got a lawyer.
We needed a zoning attorney. We needed an attorney to help us form our entities. We needed an attorney to. We needed someone who knew how to pull together a bunch of investors and put all of that into one thing.
Okay, and that was an attorney as well.
Yes, that was an attorney as well. Yeah, so we spent a lot, probably too much, on attorneys. At that time, nobody knew anything. People were just throwing money at attorneys. I know better now. So we needed a team, and we needed and so I didn't have that team. And another colleague of mine said, "Hey, guess who I met? I met these people, and I told them all about you." And I told this story when we were at Women Grow. And I told them all about you, and I told them you had me. So we got together and formed a team, and we each had our strengths and applied. Read the rules, read the laws, met people.
What was the application process like?
The application process, I don't want to say it was hard, but it definitely wasn't easy. It was just very, very detailed. And it turned out to be, I have a picture on my phone somewhere, but we submitted 5 dispensary applications and 3 cultivation applications.
Okay, explain that for our audience. What do you mean by that? So you have to get a license for.
You have to get a license in Illinois.
Yes.
The areas were spread out into, they mirrored the Illinois State Police districts for cultivation. So there were 22 Illinois State Police districts, ISPs, and there was a license for each one of those for cultivation.
Just one.
For each one. For a dispensary, there were 60 licenses available, and those were broken up into townships, and they said they did that because of population. They wanted to have, 2 over there where there's a lot of people and 1 over here where there's not so many people.
Okay.
So we decided as a group where we wanted to apply, where the best place to apply would be, places. And with that, you can't just say, oh, I want to be over there. You have to say, I want to be in that spot over there. Well, does that spot work? Does it follow all the rules? Does it zone out? There was a lot.
Right.
There was a lot.
We spoke to Brandon Banks a few weeks back, and he was saying making sure it's within a certain number of feet from a school.
1,000 feet from a school, 1,000 feet from a daycare center or home daycare center, which are kind of hidden.
Yeah, they usually don't have a sign.
No, right.
So. Okay, so you scout around, you find a spot.
You have to have the spot located before you apply because that has to be in your application. So I'm giving out all my secrets.
Oh, no.
It's not really a secret, but I am one of the things I'm doing now is consulting with people who are trying to go out for licenses.
I understand. So, okay, well, don't give all your secrets.
No, that's okay. But I'm just saying it's involved.
It is involved.
Yeah.
Okay. So and there's money involved
in the process. Finding the spot, locking down the spot. So you have to lock it up. You either have to own it or lease it or have an intent to lease. And landlords, you have to convince somebody that they want to do that.
That type of a business. Sure.
Also, community relations we found was extremely important. Yes. I want to talk a little bit about that too.
Absolutely. I really wanted to get into that part because even more so than the application process, we think of one set of barriers and obstacles or barriers to entry, and we know about we always think about the financial barriers, right? We think about the real estate issues, but let's talk about that community outreach piece and these perceptions and these issues. Talk to me about some of those, some of the issues that you ran into.
So the area that we won our license was in the Hyde Park Township, which in Chicago is on the south side. Okay. Hyde Park Township is basically almost all of the south side. So once we found a spot, actually the spot that we were really decided we were going to go after or go for, we thought everybody would love this. Y'all are going to love this. The dispensary is coming in your neighborhood, girl. No.
Not so much.
Not so much. We were called everything but a child of God. We were called, we said we were targeting, our own people and
targeting them with
healthy cannabis.
Okay.
Yeah. So, we got a lot of pushback from the community, and this was on the south side. Very nice community.
And what did you do to reach out to them? I mean, how did you get this feedback? Were they picketing in front of your place, or what's happening here?
So we went to the alderman, and the alderman gave us a set of, this is what you do's and this is what you not do's. And she was not correct in that instance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we took some advice from her and from some other people at the chamber that didn't pan out. So what we should have done was gone directly to the community.
I understand. Okay.
But we went to the alderman because we needed her support. We knew we needed her support at zoning. And so she was going to, she's like, okay, you've got my support. But when her community found out
that she was
supporting us, yeah, that wasn't pretty.
Okay. And so what were some of the major complaints that you heard from that community? What were the
we've
concerns?
got enough dope pushers in our community. Yeah, I was like, but that's not what we're doing. It's different. It's gonna bring too much traffic. It's gonna bring a different kind. People are gonna get robbed. I'm like, but people are already getting robbed.
Right, because there's no robberies on the south side.
Ain't got nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
So those kinds of things, and then every time we would say that's not true, this isn't really what's happening, then they would say, well, we just don't want it.
Well, it's interesting, and I'm going to assume these were majority Black communities.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's interesting that we have these types of issues and we have this general mistrust and this fear, and it's born out of a deep place, right? Years and years of history, long before you and I were ever even on the earth. But it's so hard to get past.
Yeah, it's been really difficult, but slow coming. We worked at that time with an elderly woman. I don't want to call her elderly because she was by no means frail and elderly. She was
a seasoned saint.
Yes,
is what she was.
Yes. And she was really able to speak to the seniors, and well, that's what she does. And she actually owns a dispensary in Oakland, if it's in Oakland or near Oakland, somewhere like that. But she was really able to talk to them and turn a lot of them around. But some of them not so much. So we actually wound up having to leave that community.
Well, and it's unfortunate too, is that a lot of times, even if the seniors are for it, a lot of times their voice is lost, right?
Yeah.
So they can be for it, but then they even may have, people who are their caregiver's and people who are taking care of them that are just vehemently against it.
Yeah,
so their power is kind of taken away.
You've gotta be able to be open to it, because the seniors are the ones who need it the most. They're on so many pills and side effects from those pills, and
So what would you say are some lessons that you've learned as a, just in this whole experience as a licensee here?
Some lessons that I've learned that I'm passing on to my new clients would be you don't need as many attorneys as they say.
Okay.
As we used. You don't need as many. You do need attorneys, but you don't need like 5, 6 attorneys. The other lesson, a big one, was go to the community and talk to them early.
Go directly
to the community. Because the community can get the ear of the alderman. We went the wrong way.
Okay. And what would you say for a community that is, that may be in that position in the future where there may be a dispensary opening up in their community, or they might have that opportunity. And I'm sorry, I should have probably told you this beforehand, but what would we tell them as far as why would they want this in their community?
Jobs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, jobs. Well, the community that we ultimately did wind up in, a dispensary is a good neighbor. They have to try extra hard, to be a good neighbor. You're not going to have people hanging out in front of the dispensary. It's not allowed. There are cameras all over it.
And you might not even know it's there.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of the ones that are around, you wouldn't know.
Absolutely.
Unless you knew.
Yeah. So jobs, it's extra security. It provides extra security because the cameras go up and down the street and up and down the alley. Yeah, I would welcome a dispensary in my
I would
neighborhood.
also say, excuse me, safe access to quality
Yes.
medicine,
Yes.
right? If we're just, yes, there are already dope dealers in your neighborhood. There's already weed in the streets, right? There's weed in these streets.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. But there is something to be said for having a place, a regulated, legal place where you can go and the people are knowledgeable about
Yes.
what's there.
Absolutely.
You could be very specific about what you want and what you need.
That medicine is tested. It's medicine.
Yes.
It's tested.
From seed to sale. So
Yes.
from the time it's planted to the time it hits
from
your
the time
hand.
it's planted to the time it leaves the store. It's barcoded. There's nothing that has a smell. You're not gonna leave there with. I guess you could leave there with pre-rolls, but everything is tightly controlled and regulated.
And there's no people standing around smoking weed outside, or you can't smoke in the space. So it's not.
You can't smoke in the space, and people are walking up and down the street smoking weed anyway.
Already. What? Your street should be on. I ain't never seen nothing like that before.
Okay.
Well, thank you for that. I'm just kidding. Thank you for that. So what's the current status? As it stands with
the dispensary.
Yes.
So we are growing. We're definitely growing. We should be harvesting very soon. I'm not as involved as I was during the licensure part right now because there's, I'm not a grower, right. And the dispensary isn't open yet. But I'm told that they're going to be harvesting soon, and that the dispensary will be opening in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you want to give the name?
Sure.
Maybe the location?
It has a new name. Mission, Illinois, I think is the name now.
Oh, okay. Because I still saw stuff under IGM.
Illinois Grown Medicine. If you look for Illinois Grown Medicine, you'll find it.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
And what do you know about? Are there any licenses available now in Illinois? Have any opened up?
Yes, they haven't opened up, but they were left over from the previous. And those I'm advising clients they're trying to go after that. So there are 2 still left on the south side. One in DeKalb, and one down south near Kankakee.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Not bad. That's kind of near my neck of the woods. Mm-hmm. You mentioned your consulting, and when we come back from the break, we are going to talk about the last layer of this cannabis parfait we have going on with Edy's life. You as an entrepreneur, but I do want to go ahead and get that plug in as a consultant.
Oh, okay.
So if anyone is interested in learning more about how to start your own, how to apply for a license, how to do it,
yeah, that's good.
The look on your face was like, oh no. If you are interested and they want to get in touch with
you.
Don't call me. But I am happy to tell you how to invest and sponsor the Dope Show. But if you're interested in that other part, can they reach you? Do you have contact information for that? Or?
Yes, they can reach me on my platform, Hue platform, which we'll talk about after the break. But it's Edy at Hue, HUE platform.com.
Can you spell Edy?
EDIE.
Okay, that's Edy at Hue platform.com. Okay, when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about the icing on the cake, the whipped cream on the parfait. We're going to talk about Edy the entrepreneur, the cannapreneur, the Hue platform, and all the other things that are going on in Miss Moore's life. So the Dope Show, see you when we get back from the break. Take care. welcome back to the Dope Show. I am Kiana Hughes. I'm sitting here with Miss Edy Moore. And for the third part, for this last part of our interview,
I'm having so much fun.
This
the time
is
went
fun.
so fast.
We can do this for hours.
We
do this for hours.
Yeah.
On the telephone, it's a long time. So, really cool to be talking to you in this format and talking about all this stuff and learning more about your journey here. So, we talked about the licensee thing,
Mm-hmm.
and you did say that you're a little bit less involved in the dispensary and that part of it and the grow now for what's going on now. So tell us a little bit about what you've been doing. What was the next pivot? Where do we go? What's the next lane we're in?
So I had to pivot. I said, okay, so now what am I going to do? I'm not going to leave the industry. I believe in it. I love it. It's a movement. It's burning. So I got an idea that too many people don't know what they need to know about cannabis. I call it cannabis because that's the plant.
The scientific
That's
term.
The scientific term. And people were saying, why you mean weed? You mean, is that what it is? And I said, oh man, y'all don't know nothing. So so I want to educate people, and I want them to, and there's lots of ways out there to get the education. There's tons of magazines and online blogs, but I really felt like people somehow could relate to me and would believe what I'm telling them, and it's been true. So I decided to start a platform, or it's not really a website. Well, it is a website.
It's a website.
It's a work in progress.
It's a multimedia platform.
Yes. It's called the Hue platform, HUE platform. That doesn't stand for anything.
Okay.
I just liked it because it meant colors.
Colors.
Yeah.
Yes, I was going to ask about
that. It doesn't stand for anything. But on it, we are highlighting people who are in the business in all kinds of ways. People who have started a business, people who are bloggers, people like yourself. And we talk to patients and caregivers. I have plans to monetize it by providing business information, very much like I'm doing with my new clients, my advisory clients. So yeah, it's getting going. It's ramping up some steam.
Well, and speaking of, I know you talked about the interview that you and I did, and I see that you do have another casting call.
I do
coming up for. So talk to us about Humans of Cannabis. I think that's a really cool series that you does.
Thank you.
That's where we learned about Jean Hester. Was that her name?
Yes. Oh my gosh,
wonderful lady.
She was wonderful. So Humans of Cannabis is us taping humans telling their story or their journeys through cannabis, much like I just did. I actually have one. We film them in short video segments. Sometimes the people are really sick, so they can't come in, so we do a Skype interview with them. But some of the stories and the journeys are amazing, and really we've done that in an effort to enlighten other people about how cannabis can help them. I thought Jean Hester was so amazing because she just got up and she said, I've read something and I think it can help me. And she went to her doctor. And
just tell us about Jean Hester. How old is Miss Hester?
I don't know.
Okay.
She wouldn't tell me.
She wouldn't tell you.
But she's late 60s probably. Okay. Yeah, 70s, late 60s.
She's seasoned.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she went to her doctor and she said that she thought cannabis could help, and her doctor agreed, and she filled out the application herself. She didn't ask anybody's help. She talked about that on the video. Yeah, it was just an amazing story.
She was great.
Yeah, she's an artist, and so it was really starting to affect her quality of life. She had a problem with her leg, and she said she couldn't sit down and she couldn't stand up,
And she
the
lives
medicine
here in
wasn't.
Chicago.
Yeah, she does.
She's
She lives
here
in
in
Hyde Park.
Chicago.
Yeah, she lives in Hyde Park. African American woman, beautiful, and all her paintings around her home. And yeah, she said it was really affecting her classes that she takes and things like that, and it helps.
Okay.
Yeah, she uses a patch. So you don't have to smoke it. You don't have to eat it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like a nicotine patch,
Yeah,
right?
it's almost like that. Yeah.
And
she wears it. Yeah, she wears it here.
Well, that is really cool. Now, how can people who may want to share their stories, how can they perhaps become involved in Humans of Cannabis? And where can they go? I'm sorry. Also, let us know where they can go to see these, because I think you really need to see them to really get the full effect.
So you can go to our website, hueplatform.com. I have they're in a banner. I've changed the website around a little bit right now because we're getting ready for this taping. But the taping is on the 20th. You can sign up
on May 20th.
On May 20th, from 12 to 4. We're taping in Pilsen, and all of the information is on Hue Platform or on our Facebook page.
And what kind of people are you looking for?
Patients, caregivers, people who are business owners or not want to be in a business, because I want someone who has an experience with the plant. Last time I talked to a grower, which was really cool. Not my grower, it was a different grower. Okay. But so people who have had an experience with the plant. They don't necessarily have to be a current patient or a current caregiver. Someone who's had an experience and has a story to tell about it.
Because a lot of people actually they're self-medicating, right? They're not official patients, as it stands right now, especially if you look at the number of people who what the numbers say who use in Illinois versus the actual number of patients we
call those people consumers.
Yeah, absolutely.
This will be filmed. I'm not going to be talking to those people on film. I'd love to talk to those people.
Sure, we'd probably do like a blackface, put a hood on.
Like, I use cannabis all the time.
Yeah, auto tune on the voice or something. We can figure it out. We can do it in a dark room.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
get creative. That's what we do.
Check out the Hue platform for more information on that casting call that's going to be in the Pilsen neighborhood on May 20th. You said from 12 to 4?
From 12 to 4.
Mm-hmm. From 12 to 4. If you want to share your cannabis story or your experience with cannabis in the industry, or even if you just want to get more information, definitely check out the Hue platform. Also check out those Humans of Cannabis videos that she has. They are very inspiring, insightful. You get to learn a lot from different people's perspective. Very much how we see on Viceland, Weedakit, and all those other shows where they show different people's perspectives as well. Well, here you get to see people who are like you, who are from Chicago, who are from, in the area, who are dealing with some of the same things and may have some of the same questions that you have. So definitely tune in, check out the Hue platform. Miss Edy Moore, thank you so much. Time is up, girl.
Oh my gosh.
Time's up. You ain't got to go home. No, this has been awesome, Edy. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, man. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
It was great. And everyone, thank you all again for tuning in to The Dope Show. Again, Mondays at 8:00 p.m., we're developing opportunities for personal empowerment in the cannabis industry. Thanks for tuning in. You have a great night and a great week. Take care.